the distinct possibility that I might be an outlaw, because my attitude towards this Democrat-run criminal enterprise called the state of California is basically F you. Why don't you come to my house and find it? You're going to have to get a warrant and kick my door, and you're going to have to come up with probable cause. Because just in no world that I live in where the U.S. Constitution applies do I have to call my state government and tell them that something that I had legally on December 31st, which is none of their business, but that I was cleared to purchase it. Now suddenly on January 1st, I have to call them and describe the weapon. And then also, by the way, there's another thing. There is a regulation that if you manufacture a sporting arm with your own two hands, you don't have to put a serial number on it. For personal use, you don't have to tell the ATF that you made it. Now, if you sell it to somebody, well, then yes, you do have to put a serial number on it. And then you do have to report that to the federal government, to the ATF, not to your state. And those are called, in the case of AR-15s, those are called 80%, because AR-15s are made out of aluminum. And they come in two halves, called a lower receiver and an upper receiver. The upper receiver has the barrel. The lower receiver has the trigger group, the guts. And that is the part that has a serial number on it. Well, the ATF says that if you start with a block of aluminum that's 80% machined, and you do the final 20% to make it the guts of an AR-15, to make it the lower receiver, then you made that. And that you don't have to tell the ATF that you have it. You don't have to tell the ATF that it has a serial number, because it doesn't need a serial number. You made it. You made it on a machine, or you used a drill press or whatever, but you bought it from someone as a block of aluminum that was 80% to final completion. You did the final 20%. The federal government, the Obama ATF, the Clinton ATF, they said, yeah, you know what? That's a hunk of aluminum. If you turn that into an AR-15 lower, you don't have to put a serial number on it. Heck, you don't even have to tell us you have it. State of California says on January 1st that if you have those, if you possess those, I'm not going to lie to you folks, I have several, okay? And the reason I have them is because I don't want the federal government to know I have them. And they don't ask. And I don't sell them to anyone, and I've never bought them. I made them. And so I enjoyed that regulation to its maximum extent for a reason, because I don't want the government to know what is in my house. Now, the state of California is coming along on January 1st and saying, I now have to, of my own volition, tell them about these. And I have to scratch numbers on them and tell the state of California what I've numbered them. I don't intend to sell them to anyone. I'm not going to illegally transfer them because, like I say, I obey the law. Well, now the law has overrun me. I've obeyed the law. But now my state has overrun me with a new law. And then, oh, by the way, and you're going to want to sit down for this, in the state of California, from January 1st on, you have to do a background check to buy ammunition. To buy ammunition to shoot through the gun that you already had a background check on. You have to have a background check. You're going to go buy 5.56 ammo for your AR-15. You need a background check. But I just bought ammo last week. I don't care. State of California says you need another background check for ammo to shoot through the gun that you already had a background check on. So that's how ludicrous it is. And you better watch it because it's coming to a state near you. You laugh, okay? You're in the South, maybe, and you laugh. You go, oh, no, we're bright red. We're blood red here in the South. That'll never happen here. You know what? Guess what? No one has a monopoly on the White House. It's Trump next year and the year after and the year after. Maybe it's Trump for 2 terms. But someday there's not going to be Trump. Someday it might be, and you better pay attention to this crazy senator from the state of California named Kamala Harris, because she has a lot of buzz with the Democrats. This woman was Attorney General of California. She was City Attorney of San Francisco. She is ignorant about guns, and she's crazy. So you better watch it, and you better not laugh off stuff like this, because California winds up being a trend for the rest of the country. It's the largest state in the union, 40 million people. It's the 4th biggest economy on earth, and it's run exclusively by gun-grabbing Democrats. We had a Democrat senator 2 years ago, this guy named Leland Yee, who absolutely hated guns in private hands, right? Busted by the FBI as a gun runner. He's in prison now. He was the guy leading the charge in this state to register guns, grab guns, restrict gun sales, and all along, behind the scenes, he was enriching himself as an illegal gun runner, supplying guns to the Philippines, importing guns, whatever you name it. And that guy was defended by his party in this state. And they have such a critical mass because illegal aliens do vote, no matter what anyone tells you. Illegal aliens vote in California. So it's so easy to register. So I'm calling you from the future. And I am telling you, you examine this. All of you in the NRA from local chapters, you examine California. And you get your battle plan ready. Because I'm going to be behind enemy lines in 5 days. And that's how I feel. I feel like I'm an American and that this hostile power has overrun my house. And they're making me a criminal. I'm just standing in one place. And they're building a freeway and then telling me I'm jaywalking. We'll be back just a minute. At Dark Secret Place on the Twitter machine if you want to add me, and we'll talk and I'll answer your questions, etc. It's Bryan Suits. My home base is here at KFI in Los Angeles. We'll be back right after this. You've got America Now with Buck Sexton. Hey, team. How would you like to get a box delivered to your front door with the coolest tactical gear you could possibly find anywhere and have it all curated for you by veterans of the special operations community? Well, now you can with Crate Club. I'm a Crate Club member, and let me tell you, I love getting my delivery each month. It has all kinds of cool stuff in there. You never know what you're going to get. Medical kits, ballistic inserts, custom knives, multi-tools. We got holidays coming up here. It's a great time to treat yourself or set up a friend or family member with a subscription. This is a veteran-owned, operated, and started company. You should check it out for yourself. And right now, you can get 15% off with promo code Buckshot. That's 15% off, promo code Buckshot. Just go to crateclub.us. That's crateclub.us. Gift options as well. Promo code Buckshot for 15% off. Message and data rates may apply.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 150 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll learn the same degree as you would on campus from wherever you are on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, text STUDY to 35517. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates and why 87% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, text STUDY to 35517. That's STUDY to 35517.
From shopping season to return season, the National Retail Federation is predicting an average of 13% of the holiday sales this year will result in returns, but an average of 11% of those will likely be fraudulent returns. Retailers are apparently used to it, though. The forecast is on par with the annual fraudulent return rate. Is Apple expecting disappointing iPhone X sales in the first quarter? A newspaper in Taiwan is reporting that, and the news dragged down shares not only of Apple, but several of its Asian suppliers, too. But Apple CEO Tim Cook has said he's satisfied with sales, and the company doesn't comment on market rumors. Retailers overall are celebrating the holiday season. Sharon Reed reports on the preliminary numbers.
The Wall Street Journal has the very latest numbers from MasterCard, which puts retail sales at their best pace this holiday season since 2011. MasterCard says sales of everything other than cars rose 4.9% from November 1st through Christmas Eve. Another report from CBS News quotes the consulting firm Customer Growth Partners, which puts total retail sales this holiday season at a record $598 billion, $33 billion more than a year ago. The organization says we've just got more disposable income to spend. Sharon Reed, NBC News Radio, New York.
Tax assessors in high-tax states are urging residents to consider paying their property and other state taxes not due till 2018 in what's left of 2017 because the tax cut bill caps state deductions on your federal tax return at just $10,000. And to help, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is issuing an emergency executive order allowing New Yorkers to prepay. And in New York's Hempstead Township, they're extending office hours and staying open this weekend.
We've been suggesting to people to prepay their school taxes for the last 2 weeks, and we've seen hundreds of people coming. With this new addition of an opportunity to prepay your general taxes, we are expecting lines out the door.
Hempstead tax receiver Don Clavin, but high-income residents, check with your CPA. Consumer and Business News, Joe McConnell, NBC News Radio.
Back to America Now with Buck Sexton. Bryan filling in for Buck all across the country, day after Christmas, and I think apparently most people are taking today as a holiday, which good for you. You must have thought I hadn't asked for it for vacation. I, for one, like to lead by example in terms of the American work ethic. But so, talking to you about changes coming to California law in 2018. As a harbinger around the country, and generally things that the state of California do are copied on the West Coast. Though when it comes to the Second Amendment, I got to say, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, and Idaho just kind of laugh at California, and it's up to the individual Californian how illegal you want to be. That though years ago, Californians were supposed to turn in their 30-round magazines, or anything over 10 rounds. But I happen to know that many Californians ignored that. And that law enforcement are not doing raids. They're not doing 30-round magazine raids. But if you're driving around and you're arrested for an illegal right turn, or whatever, they have reason to search your car. That here's the thing. A lot of cops, when they find that illegal magazine, they'll ask the motorist, is this a 10-round or a 30-round? And if you say it's a 10, or I forgot, I'm pretty sure it's a 10, they'll just throw it back in the car. If you meet that guy, and every once in a while, everyone knows, no matter what the police department is, somewhere there's always that guy. If you meet that guy, he might check and see whether it's a 30-round magazine, because now he's got you for a firearms violation. He's got you for a felony. I mean, and keep in mind, in Washington, D.C., those are illegal to hold in your hand, to possess, as they are here in California. And I forgot who it was. I want to say it was Chuck Todd. But it was after a mass shooting, and, it was David, the white-haired dude, David Gregory. And he had on Meet the Press, he was guest hosting on Meet the Press, and he had a 30-round magazine in the NBC studio in Washington, D.C. And he knew it was a 30-round magazine. Someone had brought it to Washington, D.C. and said, in case you've ever held one of these. And journalists always, it's one of the great virtues for liberal journalists to always say, to make sure the camera sees them looking in the camera saying, now, I don't know anything about these. I've never fired one. I don't even know what this is or how it works. They always have to – those are their bona fides. It's the only field of journalism in America where they have to pre-announce absolute ignorance of the subject they're about to talk to you about. Like you can't sit there and be a medical reporter for NBC and say, I have absolutely no familiarity with the human brain. In fact, I don't even think I possess one. So you're going to have to walk me through this. It's okay to simply say, walk me through this, I'm not a doctor. But when it comes to firearms, it's always, well, I don't, what end do I hold it from? What's this pointy thing? Well, that's the barrel. Okay, now what happens there? They always have to announce that they have absolutely no background in firearms. Yet they're about to give you a news report that's going to end up with their own opinion And so David Gregory had a 30-round magazine, and immediately people said, whoa. You're in D.C., you possess a 30-round magazine, and I don't know what came of it, except that the D.C. Police Department, the D.C. Police Chief and all that, they're appointed federally, and the U.S. Attorney General is not going to, whether it's Loretta Lynch or Eric Holder, is not going to come downhill and prosecute an NBC Meet the Press guy for doing what you or I would be arrested for in Washington, D.C., or for that matter, like I say, in the state of California, because those are 30-round magazines have been illegal in California for quite a while. But the next big issue, and it is in Congress right now, and it's what's called reciprocity. Reciprocity refers to a nationwide recognition of another state's concealed carry permit. Now, the deal is, it's harder to get in some states than others. It was, in my case, very easy to get in the state of Washington because it's what's called shall issue. If you are someone who can pass a background check to possess a firearm, then you're someone who can also pass a background check to get a concealed carry permit. So you go in, they fingerprint you. Usually takes about 30 days unless you're on the inside track club. And then you walk out with a laminated concealed carry that day, and it's good for 5 years. There are several states in the West that recognize each other's, like Nevada recognizes Idaho's, and Idaho recognizes Wyoming's, and all that. Of course, California recognizes nobody's. And you can get them in California, except for a couple counties, like Los Angeles County, San Francisco County, shocker, and a few other counties. Otherwise, the other 56 counties in the state of California, you can go to the county courthouse and go through that process and get a California concealed carry permit. So they actually haven't restricted that. But what Congress is doing is debating a bill that would become ATF policy, that there would be reciprocity. I would say this, that I do think that the federal government should offer a federal concealed carry permit, and under the same criteria, that if you don't have a prior felony, whatever, especially if you're prior U.S. military, current U.S. military, whatever, you have the firearms training, that you get a federal firearms permit. Because I am of the belief, and this is proven anecdotally in the news every day in Israel, that an armed society is a great anti-terrorist society and is a polite society. But the challenge of a nationwide concealed carry permit is something that California is definitely getting in the way of. All right, when we come back, the business climate, that and more coming up. It is Bryan Suits filling in for Buck Sexton on America Now.
USA Radio News with Rod Williams-Dahl.
In a series of tweets over the weekend, President Trump targeted the FBI, calling it tainted. The tweets come amid rumors that FBI Director Andrew McCabe is considering retiring. A teenager remains hospitalized on Staten Island after he and his mother were shot inside their car on Christmas. Meanwhile, in Phoenix, Arizona, a woman and her 2 children are dead. Jason Campadonia with details.
The shots fired call came in late Monday night from an apartment complex near 16th Street and Highland Avenue. When Phoenix police arrived, the suspected gunman barricaded himself inside one of the apartments. After several hours, he started shooting at officers, but the cops moved quickly and were able to arrest the guy. When investigators entered the apartment, they found 2 kids, 11 and 10 months old, shot and killed, along with a woman outside the door.
USA Radio News.
If you are sick and tired of seeing NFL players disrespecting the flag by kneeling during our sacred national anthem, then you need to show your American pride and appreciation for the Stars and Stripes. Let everyone know that you understand and appreciate what the flag and anthem represent to our country. You can do this by wearing a Stand for the Flag and Kneel for the Cross t-shirt from Patriot Depot. Go to patriotdepot.com/stand and kneel to get yours today. Don't forget to use coupon code USA Radio to save 10% off your entire order.
Howdy, folks. I'm Colonel Sanders. When I told folks my signature KFC pot pie was filled with delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, veggies, and topped in a golden flaky crust and only cost $3.99, they said I was crazy. And maybe I was, because that was 1980, and $3.99 was a lot of money back then. But today, getting a meal that size for just $3.99 is a really great deal. So stop into a KFC and get yourself a pot pie. It's finger-licking good. At participating KFCs for a limited time. Prices may vary.
Fox Sports trending now.
College football continues tonight. Duke at Northern Illinois. Quick lane bull is at the half.
2nd and 6 out of the timeout. Stands to the shotgun, takes the snap, throws to Wilson out of the backfield. All sorts of running room, and he will go in standing up. An 11-yard touchdown. Daniel Jones to Sean Wilson. And Duke stretches the lead. It's 26-14.
Yeah, PAT was no good, so Duke at the half, leading at the end of 2 quarters of play, 26-14. Later on tonight, the Cactus Bowl will feature UCLA and Kansas State. No Josh Rosen in that one. He did not pass concussion protocol. Earlier on today, Utah took care of West Virginia at the Heart of Dallas Bowl, 30-14. Zach Moss had 20 carries for 150 yards and also 1 TD. In the National Football League, James Harrison is signed with the New England Patriots, and the Giants have placed Pro Bowl safety Landon Collins on IR, fractured forearm. I'm David Gascon.
We are Buck.
Ready?
It's that time. Countdown time. Relive the year in music with iHeartRadio. Tap the playlist tab and check out the top 100 songs of the year. Playlist of the top 100 songs of the year for rock, pop, country, and more. All the music you need to remember 2017 and get you set for 2018. Right in your pocket. On the free iHeartRadio app. All your favorite music. All your favorite stations. All free.
iHeartRadio.
Fuel Jay-Z's 444 tours netting $44 million over 8 weeks. The 32-show tour raked in $44.7 million on the North American leg, with more than 400,000 tickets sold.
One should know. Never count out the Countess.
One of the Real Housewives of New York City has a court appearance next month. Luann de Lesseps was arrested in Florida on charges of battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting arrest with violence, and disorderly intoxication. She's due back in court January 25th. George Michael's family is marking the 1-year anniversary of the singer's death on Christmas Day 2016. Yesterday, his family paid tribute to the late singer with a message on his official website. The Post asked fans to, in his memory, take a moment to say those "I love yous" out loud.
I'm so loud, so loud, so loud.
The Goo Goo Dolls are back with the release of their single, So Alive Acoustic. The single's now available to purchase or stream on all digital retailers. And it was 50 years ago this week the Beatles' Hello Goodbye topped the Billboard Hot 100 singles chart. And on December 26, 1970, George Harrison became the first Beatle to top the chart as a solo act, as My Sweet Lord rose to number 1. That's entertainment. Sharon Reed, NBC News Radio.
He's back with you now, because when it comes to the fight for truth, the Buck never stops.
Hey, this is America Now with Buck Sexton. He is out for a couple days for the holidays. Bryan Suits in today, tomorrow, then next week. And a former co-star of The Office on NBC, Jenna Fisher, slammed she tweeted out nakedly false information about the tax bill. And we'll get to that here in just a second. But it was a great year for idiotic celebrity moments. And all of them triggered clearly by Trump. Not only Trump's presidential style, which, for the record, I don't approve of, but he is who he is. And you are getting this unfiltered. I mean, this is unprecedented. And that's probably why I don't like it, is because I'm not used to it. But I think for a lot of people who maybe were never politically engaged up until 2016, that this is normal. But seeing a unfiltered, raw fire hose of Trump's opinions come through his tweeter machine was shocking up until June, until you realize that there is nothing that he will hold back, nothing he won't tweet. And his personal war
against Joe Scarborough, or I should say Mr. Brzezinski and Mika Brzezinski, is one of my personal favorites. But this is something that has triggered a lot of celebrities, which is always a good thing because he's playing by their rules. He's not above any kind of fray. That Trump will push back on the liberals in Hollywood, and he'll use their names, and he'll call them losers. And believe me, the handful of conservatives here in Hollywood, we are absolutely enjoying the crap out of the collapse of the liberal power structure because it turns out they're all perverts. Turns out that the pervalanche of late 2017 is one of the best vicarious, the Germans have a word for it. Taking pleasure at another's misfortune. It's Schadenfreude. And I really wish we had a word in English. And it would go something like Weinsteinism or whatever. But to see in real time these icons of liberal Hollywood, like Harvey Weinstein, being exposed for these long-standing known perverts who were not only known, but were enabled by the very industry that will sit there and wag their finger at the rest of you. Everyone east of L.A. and west of New York, if you don't think that your third grader needs a lecture on oral sex from a lesbian activist, then you know what? You're not reactionary and homophobic. You're frickin' normal. You're a regular person. And this industry thinks that you're in the past, that you're holding America back. You're not accepting, you're not diverse, etc. You want to raise your kids the way you want to raise your kids. They think that makes you backwards. Well, now as it turns out, and then oh, by the way, and let me make a really fine point about this. Remember when it came out that Mike Pence, who I think Mike Pence strikes me as kind of a boring dork, but whatever. It's no skin off my nose. But when Mike Pence said that he doesn't go to dinner with a woman without his wife present, remember how he got mocked by Hollywood? But you know what? I don't go to dinner. Yeah, and here's the thing. I'll meet someone for lunch or coffee. I've got colleagues and people that I'm doing projects with who are females in Hollywood, in local news, TV, the whole thing. But they're colleagues, and we're meeting about a project, and we both show up with yellow legal pads, and we say, oh, okay, by January 20th, let's have this done, we'll have this done, and we'll do a Google Hangout on this, and we'll have coffee. And then at the end of 45 minutes or an hour, we say, all right, good meeting, have a good day, terrific, see you next time. But I would never go to my wife and say at 6:30, oh, you know what, sweetie, you know what I forgot? I have this dinner with this attractive local news anchor, and it's a working dinner, but it's at 9 p.m. at the Palm on Sunset, and it's going to be about a $300 dinner, and we'll probably polish off a bottle of wine or two, but don't worry, it's a working dinner. I wouldn't put her in that position. I wouldn't put her in the position of having to say, really? You couldn't do this at 2 p.m. at the IHOP. You got to do this at 9 p.m. at the Palm. Really? Okay. So Pence got mocked for that because that was seen as it was the patrimony. It was the male power structure, possessing his woman and bringing her on for dinner. No, it was a man respecting his wife. And you know why Hollywood didn't understand what Pence did is because they don't understand respecting your wife. Because Harvey Weinstein, this ugly, unshaven, fat load, have you ever seen his wife? She's smoking hot. I mean, smoking hot. Martians land and say, take us to your MILF. You go to Weinstein's wife. She's H-O-T hot. And you ask yourself, how did he get her? Money and an understanding. Evidently, he should be begging her to pay attention to him. He should be on his knees saying, thank you for marrying me every single day. Okay, but that's not what that was because he never respected his wife. And also, she knew it. He had people surrounding himself, including women, who were arranging for women to liaise with him. And so this is the year that Flyover America gets his revenge on Hollywood. And good on you, by the way, for movie receipts being down, some of the crap out of Hollywood. You're not rewarding them by giving them your money. And I, by the way, like I say, I don't live in Los Angeles. I work in Los Angeles. I work in Hollywood. But I have an hour and a half drive to get here. I live at 4,000 feet on 11 acres with 37 chickens, okay? That's me in L.A. That's the closest I can get to L.A. That's the closest I can integrate to L.A. I cannot wear bedazzled, butt-spanking jeans. I can't wear lowrider jeans with rhinestones all over them, and I don't have the latest T-shirt, okay? I wear a jeans jacket, and what am I wearing? I'm wearing my cool mountain climbing pants from REI. I'll say that, but REI is not an LA thing. And I wear pull-on cowboy boots, not with a pointy toe, but with a round toe. That's the closest I can get to LA. And so, I work with these guys, and the people that are friends of mine that are conservative, the people I have the most sympathy for, and you should know this. I tell you this from LA. There are people that you know from TV. I can't say their names, but you know them. You know them from comedy. You know them from drama. They are conservative, and they work in L.A., and they have been saying this stuff for years, that it's a filthy, phony culture, and that someday it will fall. And someday they'll be comfortable enough to come out and say, yeah, you know what? I'm conservative. And there's a secret society in Hollywood called the Friends of Abe and Abe Lincoln. And if you're a friend of Abe, you're in the club. And that is literally how bad it is in Hollywood, that conservatives have to meet privately and guard who can join the club because they don't want to be outed. And they greet each other by saying, are you a friend of Abe? And if you say, oh, yeah, Abe Weitzman, he's my agent, well, then you're not a friend of Abe. It's not that Abe. It's a different Abe. So that is how it is for conservatives in Hollywood. Luckily, the good news that's on the horizon is that if you've seen the content revolution from Amazon, from Netflix, and all that, Netflix will greenlight a bunch of series. And if only 1 million people a week download that episode, you know what? They're making money. So they're doing it. And so TV series that would not have been on your screen 10 years ago or 5 years ago are now being made. TV series that, portray the war on terror where the Americans are the good guys. We've now gone through 15 years of these BS navel-gazing movies where the Americans turn out to be the bad guy, where the Americans are the monsters all along, and the CIA, or whatever. But there are no, but there will be. There are no shows for you to show your kids where brave Americans sacrifice home and family, go overseas, put their bodies on the line for the CIA, the Army, the Marine Corps, the Air Force, and defeat an enemy that wants to kill you in your bed. Okay, that's a pretty simple message. I mean, that is a pretty GD amazing thing. And Hollywood has had this material for 15 years to make something out of it. And they're only just now, getting to a point where they realize that you will pay money for that because that reinforces what's best in our country. And, oh, by the way, it's not a lie. Now, was Sands of Iwo Jima a lie when it was made in, 1946, 47? Well, John Wayne was not a Marine on Iwo Jima. But the movie is factual. And the movie reinforces what was good about America, what is good about America. Sacrifice for each other, fidelity, honor, bravery. When the country calls and tells you to go be brave, you go be brave. And it is high time. Now, sadly, Hollywood's only getting on board because of two things. They're realizing that they're all perverts, and that, secondly, you'll pay for this because it's a good message, and it's not lying. So something good is coming out of 2017, and you know what it is? It's the market, because they're so used to you just marching off and paying for whatever crap they put in the theaters. But they realize now that Netflix wasn't a movie studio, it was a DVD rental company. And now Netflix is kicking their ass by making things that you want to watch. And you talk about the ultimate marketplace. You and your remote scanning through Netflix. That's the ultimate marketplace. And you're sitting there going, crap, 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 crap. Oh, look at that. Dunkirk. What's that about? British bravery in World War II? Sign me up. Let's watch that. I didn't see it in the theaters, but let's watch it at home. Hollywood's finally seeing that. And shame on them, because this has been in front of them for 15 years. You know, and keep in mind, in World War II, it took Hollywood a month to pivot from neutrality to let's win this war. Because Hollywood was on our side in World War II. But past 15 years, no. And they're realizing it. And you're biting them by keeping your money to yourself or rewarding Amazon or Netflix with putting things on your screen that you're proud to show your kids. Now they're getting their lesson. We'll be back in just a second. Some end-of-the-year montages, a montage of montages, and Office actress Jenna Fisher embarrassing herself with her complete ignorance of the recently passed tax bill. That and more coming up. It is Bryan filling in for Buck Sexton. You've got America Now.
Churchill, the Germans have encircled our forces in Dunkirk.
The nation's top critics are hailing Darkest Hour.
We must get our boys off those beaches.
The Wall Street Journal raves Darkest Hour inspires and entertains.
One bond unites us all to rescue mankind.
It's a portrait of leadership at its most brilliant.
We shall fight on.
And now it's a Critics' Choice nominee for Best Picture of the Year.
We shall never surrender.
Darkest Hour, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13. Now playing in theaters everywhere.
I believe in you. Just 4 simple words, but to a child in need, they mean the world. When you become a child sponsor with Save the Children, you're saying, I believe in you. You're worthy of good nutrition, quality health care, and education. I believe in you. Just 4 simple words that can bring hope, that can change a life. Because when you believe in a child, you empower them to believe in themselves. Visit sponsor.savethechildren.org today and tell a child in need, I believe in you.
Message and data rates may apply.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 150 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll learn the same degree as you would on campus from wherever you are on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, text STUDY to 35517. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates and why 87% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, text STUDY to 35517. That's STUDY to 35517.
Get ready to binge. It's new to view, streaming edition. Here's some goodies to fill up your queue for your holiday break. Now streaming on Netflix, check out the Netflix original blockbuster starring Will Smith, Bright, as he fights for justice in a world where humans, orcs, and elves coexist. Sit back and watch natural history in high def. Planet Earth 2 is available to stream on Netflix now. You can also fire up some New Year's Eve countdowns for the kids. Pick from All Hail King Julian, Huff and Rock, Skylanders, Troll Hunters, and more. Also this week, catch Season 2, Part 1 of Bill Nye Saves the World. Todd Barry's got a new stand-up special available this week called Spicy Honey. Speaking of stand-up, don't miss Dave Chappelle's new special on Netflix, Equanimity. New to Hulu this week, catch Season 2 of The Detour or United Shade of America, the 2017 horror flick Rings, and Hulu adds a bunch of classics at the end of the month. Check out Dances with Wolves, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the original Fright Night, both Grumpy Old Men movies, Swingers, Total Recall, Under Siege, and more. Starting in January, Netflix adds a whole new slew of titles, including Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman Begins, and Batman and Robin if you absolutely have to. And don't miss all 4 Lethal Weapon movies, all 3 Godfathers, and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And that's new to view, streaming edition on iHeartRadio. Fire up your DVR. It's time for your TV tip-off.
On Tuesday, it's another year-end tradition, the 40th Annual Kennedy Center Honors, with Gloria Estefan, LL Cool J, Norman Lear, and Lionel Richie among this year's honorees. The celebration airs Tuesday at 9/8 Central on CBS. For New Year's Eve, ABC brings out the annual New Year's Rockin' Eve, featuring Ryan Seacrest, kicking off at 8/7 Central. Also on Sunday, New Year's with Steve Harvey, live from Times Square, starts at 8/7 Central on Fox. And that's your TV tip-off on iHeartRadio.
Hey, welcome back. It's America Now. Bryan filling in for Buck Sexton. Buck will be back next week, and we do have a bunch of embarrassing moments from the media, never mind celebrities, but from the media, and the staff have kindly montaged them together. The actress Jenna Fisher from The Office, they might reboot The Office, by the way, but she sent a tweet out that was just flat out inaccurate, and this was the day before Christmas, and she said, quote, and this is, by the way, if you care. I'll just read this. If you care, here's what she said. Quote, I can't stop thinking about how school teachers can no longer deduct the cost of their classroom supplies on their taxes, something they shouldn't have to pay for with their own money in the first place. I mean, imagine if nurses had to go buy their own syringes. And she didn't even end it with a question mark, by the way, even though there's a question. But she ends it with hashtag UGH. UGH. Hashtag UGH. And she is not a 14-year-old girl, by the way. She's an actual adult, working actress. Well, the fact check on this is that the $250 school supplies deduction was actually kept in the bill. And so she just tweeted that straight out of her three-letter word, like ASS, which spells ass. And that is what you get when you follow celebrities for your analysis of the tax bill. By the way, and most of whom, by the way, have primary residences in California, and the tax bill, if this could be called anything campaign-wise, it would be the Elect Republicans in California 2018 Act, because we have confiscatory state taxes here. The highest marginal rate is 13% of your federal. I mean, you wrap your head around that. And, oh, by the way, we have a state sales tax. And then we have county sales taxes, the highest of which is in L.A. County. So if you're living in L.A. County, like Beverly Hills, and you're making $1 million, but you're probably making $10 million or $100 million, then you're paying past $50,000, everything past that you pay to the federal government in taxes, 13% goes to the state. So this tax bill, by eliminating that deduction, you used to be able to deduct that from your federal. That's gone now. And so now a lot of the most liberal people, richest people in California, are going to say, what the hell? Where did these incredible state taxes come from? I'm already paying, to this day, way more for gas than anyone else, and the roads are crappy. They're third world roads in California. So high sales tax, high state income tax. Who's in charge? And then they're seeing who's in charge. A veto-proof majority of Democrats in Sacramento. A permanent majority of Democrats. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? They're not veto-proof because one of our state senators in his rental home up in Sacramento was doinking interns. He was abusing female staffers and even people who weren't even paid on the staff, just interns. And his roommate was the president of the Senate, who's running for senator, for DIFI's seat. So the state is absolutely corrupt from the inside out. So for a brief moment here, there's not a veto-proof majority. So that's how silly California is. Meanwhile, nationally, ABC News got the Brian Ross from ABC News got the Flynn scoop so horribly wrong that he got himself suspended for a month without pay. I think Brian Ross is still suspended. I think he's coming up on the end of that. But this is ABC stepping on their own thing and what we call cut 3.
Oh, my God. Oh, breaking news. ABC News' Bryan Ross is reporting Michael Flynn promised full cooperation to the Mueller team and is prepared to testify that as a candidate, Donald Trump directed him to make contact with the Russians. Yeah!
Listen to that crowd. I mean, it's like it's a spectator sport. I mean, that's what they talk about on The View. That's what, when Joy Behar is your political expert, that's what you get. Well, the joke is on Joy, and then ultimately was on Bryan Ross because he jumped the gun a bit. That Flynn, who's been officially disgraced, even though there's many of us who've known about him for years, and he was privately disgraced, but Flynn actually contacted the Russians after Trump was president-elect, like every other president-elect in history. Once you're president-elect, it's in fact expected that you reach out and start contact with allied or even rival governments. It's really that simple. For some reason, the phone's calling. Why is the phone ringing here? Screw that. And Joy Behar thought exactly what Bryan Ross thought. Because Bryan Ross, if he had Flynn saying that they were contacting the Russians during the campaign, that's a completely different kettle of fish. And that's what he thought he had.
Message and data rates may apply.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred?